How many of you have been to New York? Oh, a few of you, good. How many of you have been to the Guggenheim? Ah, right. When you were at the Guggenheim, did you see William Hunt's The Shadow of Death? It's an interesting religious painting from the 1870s. And it shows two of the characters that we hear about in the gospel today. We see Mary and we see Jesus. Joseph isn't there. And you're definitely in the carpenter's shop, so it leads us to understand that Joseph has died. And Jesus is now doing the work that his earthly father did. And it shows the sun is setting, obviously the way the sun is cast, the sunlight's coming into the painting. And Jesus is getting up from his chair and he's stretching, and I'm going to lose my zucchetta. He's stretching and he's got this grin on his face, the day's done. And then there's his mother over here on the side, and she's got this box open. And you never see her face, but her hands are touching a gold crown, a bottle of myrrh, and a box of frankincense. And the shadow that Jesus is casting behind him resembles the image of him hanging on the cross. And in fact, the implements hanging on the wall of the carpenter shop are nails and hammers and other sharp devices. It's been 40 days since we celebrated Christmas. And sometimes we lose that joy. We lose that sense of wonder and marvel that God would do this thing of sending his son to save us. And Mary in this painting, as she's touching these items, sees her son's shadow as he will be on the cross someday. And it gives pause to remember that she's lived 30 years now waiting for this son of hers to manifest himself as Messiah. This is why she's looking at these gifts, to remember this great promise. And so it is with us today. We're called upon to remember after these 40 days of time this great, marvelous promise that's been made to us, that Jesus saves us from ourselves and from our selfishness and from our sinfulness. Our challenge this week is not to give up hope, because we know the rest of the story already. But that painting shows Mary didn't. She needed those reminders. But we need reminders too. And the reminders that God gives to us today are each other as a family of faith. That is why it is so important that we as church gather each week to draw strength from the Word, from the sacrament, and from each other. That we're not alone in this world. We're not alone in our belief. That God walks with us through Word, through sacrament, through the physical being of other Christians like ourselves. Those are the three gifts that you and I have to look upon, to draw strength from, and to know that we're precious to God. And in time, his promise to us that we will be with him in heaven will be fulfilled.